Welcome back to the channel. When we talk about exchanges in the crypto market, there are two names that immediately dominate the conversation: Binance and Coinbase. And yes, I know I've said this countless times in previous videos, but it needs to be repeated because it's one of the most important catalysts that could reshape the future of ZBCN. Binance and Coinbase aren't just trading platforms, they are the absolute titans of this space. Think about the size and influence they hold for a moment. Binance handles an overwhelming portion of the global trading volume and serves as the central hub for international crypto activity. Coinbase, on the other hand, is the go-to platform for retail investors in the United States, acting as the primary entry point for countless individuals who are dipping their toes into crypto for the first time. Together, these two exchanges dominate the landscape, holding the lion's share of both user adoption and liquidity. So imagine for a moment what happens when ZBCN finally secures listings on both Binance and Coinbase. It wouldn't just be another exchange announcement that gets a small bump in price. No, this would be the kind of catalyst that can trigger an avalanche of momentum, a true parabolic run that could catapult ZBCN into an entirely new orbit of recognition, liquidity, and valuation. The beauty of ZBCN is that it doesn't even need to directly compete in the same crowded narratives as other major projects. Think about what the big boys in crypto are fighting over right now. XRP has focused almost entirely on banks and on-demand liquidity solutions. Stellar XLM has carved out its lane in remittances, trying to streamline cross-border payments for individuals and businesses. OnyxCoin XCN is tackling trade finance, aiming to bring efficiency and transparency into that complex sector. These are all massive, important industries, but they're industries that are already heavily guarded and controlled by established institutions. They're trying to push in from the top down, hoping that legacy financial systems will eventually adapt and allow blockchain solutions to integrate. That's an uphill battle. ZBCN, however, has chosen an entirely different path. Instead of fighting from the top down, it's building from the bottom up. And that difference is crucial. So as always, I'll end this video with a reminder. None of this is financial advice. I'm just sharing my opinions and observations. Always do your own research, invest responsibly, and never put in more than you're willing to lose. But from where I'm standing, the future for ZBCN looks brighter than ever. ZBCN's foundation is in Payroll, and Payroll is not just some niche idea. Payroll is one of the most universal, constant, and critical financial processes in the world. In the United States alone, Payroll represents a $10 trillion market. In Japan, that number is another $5 trillion plus. Together, that's already a $15 trillion opportunity just from two regions, and that doesn't even account for the rest of the global workforce. Payroll touches every industry, every business, every employee. It is the backbone of economic life, and ZBCN is inserting itself directly into that process with blockchain-based solutions that make payroll streaming and payments faster, cheaper, and more transparent. Add to that its partnerships with Mastercard, integration with 15 chain networks, and the fact that it already has point-of-sale devices in the market. And let's not forget the fact that ZBCN has secured a stage at CBOS 2025, one of the most respected and influential financial conferences on the planet. This isn't theory anymore. This is execution. These are concrete steps that demonstrate ZBCN is not only being noticed by the crypto community, but is also being recognized by institutions that matter in the world of finance. Now, here's the kicker. ZBCN currently has no direct rivals in its chosen niche. None. While others are fighting over remittances or banking integrations, ZBCN has carved out a lane for itself where it essentially has free reign. That means there is no competitor fighting for the same pie, no other blockchain project focused entirely on payroll and compliance at this scale. And when you think about the size of the payroll industry compared to remittances or trade finance, it's clear that the opportunity here is even bigger than what many other blue-chip cryptos are chasing. This is why I keep saying ZBCN is destined for greatness. It has its own lane, its own niche, and a market opportunity that dwarfs many of the current narratives dominating crypto. The next wave of catalysts is already lined up. The Binance and Coinbase listings are the obvious ones. Once those come, the exposure and liquidity will skyrocket, making ZBCN accessible to millions of new investors almost overnight. But beyond that, the project has already achieved SOC 2 compliance, placing it in an elite category of crypto companies that have been verified for enterprise-grade security and operational integrity. Only a handful of other big names, like Crypto.com and KuCoin, have managed to achieve this, and it puts ZBCN in a league that very few projects occupy. And the compliance story doesn't stop there. More certifications are on the horizon, which will make it even harder for institutions to ignore ZBCN as it continues to build its reputation as a serious player in the regulated crypto space. And we can't skip over the marketing side of things, because visibility is often just as important as fundamentals when it comes to crypto adoption. In the fall, ZBCN is set to roll out partnerships with both the NBA and the NHL. Think about how big that is. Sports partnerships are some of the most powerful branding tools in the world. Millions of fans, both in arenas and watching on television, will be exposed to ZBCN branding. This isn't just about making crypto enthusiasts more aware. This is about putting ZBCN in front of mainstream audiences, casual sports fans, and even people who may have never considered getting involved in crypto. That kind of exposure can't be underestimated. It creates curiosity, it generates conversations, and it pulls new people into the ecosystem. Of course, I have to give the usual disclaimer here. Everything I'm saying is speculation. Nothing is guaranteed. None of this is financial advice. I'm just sharing my thoughts and my perspective as someone who's been following this project closely. Please do your own research before making any financial decisions. But from where I'm standing, the price action right now is extremely enticing. ZBCN is trading at levels that, in my opinion, we may never see again once the next wave of catalysts kick in. Personally, I've already invested heavily, over $10,000 worth of ZBCN, and I'm considering doubling that. The prices are simply too attractive for me to ignore. I see it as a chance to accumulate before the next big run. Have you been loading up your bags during this dip? Because I can promise you, if ZBCN delivers on its roadmap, these moments will look like golden opportunities in hindsight. The way I see it, ZBCN isn't just about making small incremental gains. This is a play for people looking for serious returns. I'm talking 20x to 50x potential if the project executes and reaches the billion-dollar market cap territory that analysts have been forecasting. And don't just take my word for it. Dozens of other voices in the community are echoing the same predictions. ZBCN has already been the subject of numerous market analyses and price predictions, with many experts placing it firmly in the multi-billion-dollar category in the years ahead. That kind of growth is what sets apart the projects that survive from the ones that fade away. And then there's the chart. If you've been following ZBCN's price action, you'll notice something interesting. Its chart patterns look almost identical to those of XRP and FLR. But here's the fascinating difference. The scale is much bigger. When you zoom out over 6 months instead of 3, ZBCN doesn't just look similar. It looks like a rocket preparing for launch. The setup is there, the consolidation is happening, and the potential energy is building. That's why I've been talking about a $1 price target for such a long time. I know some people roll their eyes when I say it, but it's not just me making this call. Plenty of respected analysts in the space are saying the same thing. Maybe it won't happen in the next few months, but in the next few years? Absolutely possible. And before we even get there, the first milestone is hitting a penny, which is much closer than most people realize. One person you absolutely need to be following if you're interested in ZBCN updates is the analyst who goes by ZBCN on X. He's the #1 source of information for this project, consistently sharing the latest developments and insights. Recently, he shared a recap that really highlights just how much progress the project has made. He talked about the EIM launch, the live partnership with World Mobile, and the rollout of decentralized mobile payments in over 70 countries. That's not just hype, that's execution. Real-time payroll and payments are now more accessible than ever, and the compliance modules that are being introduced align perfectly with upcoming regulatory frameworks like MiCA in Europe. On top of that, there's progress being made with the FCA, and we could see significant movement by the end of October. Then there's the chain integration side of things, which doesn't get enough attention. ZBCN supports more chains than any other card and payments protocol out there. That's huge because interoperability is the future. Their recent collaborations with projects like Xano, Boba Network, XDC, and Octaspace are proof of that. These aren't random partnerships for the sake of news headlines. These are deliberate choices made by other serious projects that see the value of aligning with ZBCN. And this is just the beginning. Looking forward, we have the MiCA approval coming in 2025, ISO certifications on the way, and of course the big exchange listings that are on everyone's radar. Each of these milestones represents another wave of momentum that could drive ZBCN higher. And if we step back and look at the broader picture, what we're seeing is the evolution of a project that started with a very specific goal, payroll streaming, but has grown into a much larger ecosystem. Today, ZBCN isn't just about payroll, it's about an entire suite of products and services. We have the ZBEC cards, which are already in circulation. We have the upcoming Super App, which could centralize multiple services into one seamless platform. And we have ZebNet, powered by World Mobile, which ensures that users have real-time, low-latency access to the network across the globe. That's not just crypto theory, that's a functioning ecosystem with tangible utility. This is also where the mission of ZBCN overlaps with the philosophy of World Mobile. They've always said that to bank the unbanked, you first have to connect the unconnected, and that's exactly what this partnership is doing. By combining blockchain payroll solutions with decentralized mobile connectivity, they are tackling two of the biggest barriers in global finance at the same time. They're not just creating a product, they're creating access. They're creating opportunity. They're building a bridge for people who have been excluded from the financial system to finally participate. And that, in my opinion, is one of the most powerful and underrated aspects of this project. At the end of the day, ZBCN is more than just another crypto. It's a project with real-world utility, a clear niche, and a roadmap that is packed with catalysts. The Binance and Coinbase listings, the NBA and NHL partnerships, the compliance milestones, the expanding ecosystem, all of these pieces are coming together. And when they do, the potential for growth is massive. And that's all for today's deep dive into ZBCN, guys. If you found this video helpful and you're as excited as I am about where this project is headed, don't forget to smash that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, share this video with your friends, and of course, hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on so you never miss an update. Your support really helps the channel grow, and I'll keep bringing you the latest news, analysis, and breakdowns every single day.